Hey, good morning. We're here with my good friend Neil Robinette of CS Smith Property Group in Pinehurst, beautiful Pinehurst, North Carolina. This is my second ever podcast. I wanted to get Neil on the first one because he's a good friend of mine and very first client, so really special to me. Gave me a shot to get this thing rolling, and so it's the reason I'm in this space now. So he's a ball of fun. Don't let him fool you. It's going to be a lot of fun today. So Neil, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Forrest. Doing good, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Thank you. So Neil, I know everything about you, but the audience doesn't. So tell me about Neil, and then I want to hear about C.F. Smith, Tri-City, starting with the broom.
Me, let's see. Live in Pinehurst here with my family and my wife and three girls. Originally from the area, actually from Rockingham, just a little south of here. Grew up there. Went to college at Wofford College. Studied finance. Played baseball there. Went to Clemson for graduate school. Master's of real estate development. Kind of grew up in a real estate company, so knew that was, an interest of mine, something I wanted to get into. Kind of knew that was where I wanted to go, so kind of focused my studies towards that, and really enjoyed learning about it at both Wofford and Clemson. From there, got started in development, doing some multifamily work down in Greenville area, South Carolina, for several years, and then made my way back to the family business in 2014. My grandfather started CF Smith Property Group, which was Tri-City Inc. at the time. Founded it in the 60s, primarily focused on retail real estate development and investment. Did not anticipate coming back to the family business when I did. In fact, my parents were against me coming back at all. I was enjoying what I was doing multifamily, really getting a lot of experience on development, asset management, investment, acquisitions and dispositions. So I was really getting a lot of good trial by fire and getting my hands in a lot of things, learning a lot. So I was enjoying that. But in 2014, Claude, my grandfather, wanted me to come back and work for him, which after a lot of thought, I had agreed to do later in the year. And then, just happenstance, he ended up passing away shortly after I committed to come back to work with him later in the year. He had been sick with cancer for years, but it was somewhat sudden when he passed. And there wasn't a tremendous amount of organizational structure in place at the time. And certainly, aside from a few key people in the business, it really didn't have much in terms of the ability to keep going without some support. No real transitional plan in place. So I ended up moving back pretty promptly thereafter to just step in and help and sort of figure out what was going on. And been, I guess, for the past 12 years, have been trying to drive the ship and keep moving in the right direction. But today we do a lot of what we've always done: retail development and investments. We have a portfolio of over 100 retail properties, probably 250 tenants scattered across 10 states, have a tremendous development pipeline, and have been very successful in acquisitions of grocery anchored centers. So it's been fun, built a good team. It's fun to be a part of, and we're working hard, but having fun doing it. So that's my backstory.
All right, thanks, man. All right, Neil, go back a little bit further. Tell me about the broom.
The broom. Yeah. So Claude, again, my grandfather, who started this business in the 60s, was very much a kind of depression era mentality and work ethic that he had throughout his life. And it really started at a young age for him. He was very entrepreneurial, even in his teens, doing small businesses, building small businesses, and agricultural and different things like that. And his dad had a small broom manufacturing facility in Marston, which is outside of Rockingham, small town where he grew up. He acquired that business from his dad with a seller note when he was maybe younger than 20. He was maybe in his late teens at the time, bought that business and operated it, kind of built it. And he started just doing really outside the box things like, outsourcing labor to Mexico and different countries well before that was a thing that was happening, more globally in the United States. So he's just had a way of doing things and seeing things before they were mainstream. And his big break with the broom the broom facility was a patent that he developed that helped assemble the brooms to the broomsticks like 50 times faster than the technologies at the time. So he developed that technology and patented it, and then ended up selling the rights to it to some of the larger manufacturers on a royalty basis, which ultimately kind of gave him the seed capital to get into real estate. So we have the broom in our office, one of the original, or one of the brooms from their factory that hangs in the hallways. Just kind of a reminder for us that you know, the entrepreneurial roots that we come from, and try to continue those in what we do today.
Yeah, it's a great story. All right. If you don't think your mom and dad would mind, Neil, tell me about how your parents met and how that involved Claude.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. So Claude was, Rockingham's a small town, so he was the landlord, and around town for a lot of shopping centers and commercial facilities. And my dad was an engineer by training and worked at Oxford Industries out of college. And he's from Spartanburg, South Carolina, and he got relocated to Hamlet, the neighboring town to Rockingham, to a facility they had there. So he was new to town, lived in an apartment complex that Claude also owned, and Claude was the landlord for his facility that he was running in Hamlet as well. So as he was at the apartment complex, my mom was also living there at the time, and they met by being neighbors there. Started dating, and one day my dad met with Claude, and Claude was pretty notorious for being pretty shrewd in his dealings, and was really good at site selection and putting deals together, but didn't necessarily care for the ongoing relationships or maintenance of the buildings, or tenant relationships. He was very frugal and did not spend money unless he had to. So he didn't put a lot of effort into maintaining his buildings. And the Oxford building where my dad ran, the roof was leaking and had all kind of issues. He went to Claude and proposed a long-term lease extension in exchange for the tenant replacing the roof, which was a pretty gracious offer. You would think, if you're the landlord getting a long-term lease and the tenant investing in the building, to which Claude said no, he wasn't going to do that. He just wanted to maintain ultimate leverage in the situation. So my dad was pretty fired up about that. Went home that night and was at dinner with my mom, and he has no idea that my mom is Claude's daughter, and is going on about his slumlord landlord situation, and just really really frustrated by the situation. And if you knew my mom, you'd know how she would have responded to this. But she's super mild mannered and very quiet and keeps to herself. But she gently had to break the news to him that his slumlord was her dad, which in that instance, I don't know that she was real proud of, but it was a funny situation. He then connected the dots that Claude Smith and Claudia Smith were father and daughter. So
I could see why you wouldn't put those two together. Now, how long have they been together, Neil?
Oh shit, I don't know. It's got 40 years.
Yeah, they've been together a long time.
Yeah,
And they are, if you know them at all, they're inseparable. Like you hardly ever see one without the other. And however meek and
yeah,
mild Mrs. Robinette, Claudia Kenneth is the exact opposite.
yeah. Oil and water, they opposites attract, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, couldn't have found two different personalities.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, Neil, and kind of the backstory. So, all right. So tell us about CS Smith, what you guys got going on, what the future is. I know you gave us a little bit background on that too.
Yeah. CF Smith, we're obviously family owned and operated. One unique thing about us is we, even today, with the portfolio we have, for the most part, 98% of our portfolio, we own 100%. So it gives us a lot of latitude to make decisions internally, be able to pivot, and be entrepreneurial and opportunistic as things come up. But we really focused on being, an inch wide and a mile deep in terms of what we focus on in our business. Really getting to the core of what we want to do and be. And that's, yeah, that's really all things retail, real estate development and investment. We focus pretty specifically on, out parcel development for national credit rated tenants that we can develop good relationships with, execute for, and continue to repeat that, as well as grocery anchored shopping centers and other retail shopping centers of other, anchors and big box retail. So from a development standpoint, that's certainly the biggest bucket of our business and our growth. We have probably 35 projects in our pipeline that represent over 350 to 400 million of real estate investment opportunities or development opportunities. Just super excited about what we've got going on that front. Continuing to build relationships with the tenant and brokerage community. We are highly focused on, executing at a high level and really doing a great job each time out. And that's just so important to continuing to, compound more opportunities for us. And our team's done a great job. We've got a great team in place, needs to grow. A lot of really smart, ambitious individuals that are focused on their growth as well as, achieving the company's goals. And it's just a really good dynamic to be a part of, really fun. And then we also are, extremely active on the investment acquisitions. We acquired, I think 60 million of grocery anchor centers last year, have a goal of 100 million this year. And it's really focused on finding grocery centers where we can come in and, leverage our expertise on the leasing management side to add value to the center and the communities around it, improving the physical appearance of the property, the co-tenancy, and helping the tenants be more successful, driving more traffic. And that ultimately leads to, NOI enhancement and value enhancement for us. And we've been extremely pleased with some of the results we've been able to pull together through our team's efforts and adding some really good value to these centers. So those are the two main focuses for us. And, we also have a brokerage arm we started about 2 years ago that's been extremely successful, has really grown and developed. And that's more focused on a more regional basis for us. And our thought process was really around, we've got all this experience and internally here from an owner's perspective and a developer's perspective that we can provide a completely different and more nuanced type of approach and advisory to property owners or tenants that are, looking to expand in the market that most brokerage shops don't have. And there's some good ones out there for sure, but we just felt like there was a niche for a group like ours with the lens that we can take to the property owner and really elevate that service. And that's been exciting to see that kind of, come full circle and really grow and develop some market share on the brokerage side, which helps our other businesses as well. So they're all accretive to one another in some form. So that's, what we are in a tremendous growth phase for our business. Again, it's been a very, very exciting, time to be here. So it's creates new challenges for us that, every time we kind of hit a new threshold, it's new territory and new challenges to try to overcome, and whether that's, capital or scaling the organization, all these things are, exciting, fun challenges for us.
Yeah, and you can see how much Neil's got going on by his phone back there. He's a hard guy to get 45 minutes with, so I appreciate you making that time, Neil.
Sorry, I need to
mute
that thing.
So everybody knows, or most people in our line of work understand that, the founders build, the second generation maintains, and usually the third generation, squanders it all, wastes all the wealth, stuff like that. Well, you're the third generation. You guys have done the exact opposite. And, I mentioned, I know Neil. There's nobody more disciplined than Neil. Neil, what's your record for consecutive days of working out?
I don't know for too many.
I think it's
not advisable.
I think it's 4 digits, maybe. I know it's at least 820 something. So if that should, like, we could sum up this entire podcast with that statistic right there, Neil. So Neil, tell me what's your secret sauce for how you countered the statistics, the analytics of what should be happening with a third generation business like this. Why are you guys different?
Man, I don't really know. It's when I first got here and I was, I was in the CEO seat really because there was nobody else to be here. I didn't earn it. I certainly wasn't qualified for it.
That's not true.
Probably still not, but I was 25, 26, and looked like I was probably 20. And I just remember, you can get those looks, and people don't have to say anything, but you could just kind of read between the lines on what they thought of me without really knowing it. And I don't know. I've always sort of carried a chip on my shoulder that this, this has been such a tremendous opportunity just because I was on the lucky end of the gene pool here. And I didn't ever want to take that for granted, and felt like I had an immense responsibility to leave it better than I found it. And that stereotype is a chip I carry on my shoulder, whether it's warranted or not. It you know, helps me be motivated when I don't want to be. So it's, something I kind of leaned into a little bit just to, maintain that little extra fire. I think everybody having a little chip on their shoulder, whether it's manufactured or if it's real, is a good thing.
Yeah.
Just because it's always in the back of your mind, kind of eating at you, and you're fighting against it. So that's something that I've always kind of carried with me, and it's just been a really big burden and responsibility that I feel strongly is something that I need to I need to take this opportunity and make the absolute most of it. And I owe that to the people that put me in this position. So I don't know if there's any secret sauce. It's a huge motivator for me, and I think just if we've had success to date, it's really been because of the team that we have here, and the team we've been able to build and develop, and just being a part of that. It's been a huge blessing. But this team is who's they're the ones in the trenches getting it done, and so grateful for everyone's part of it.
Yeah, we got a great team. You just really have assembled a great team. All right. So a couple years ago, I joined you guys at ICSC in Charlotte, and I would just as a fly on the wall, I wanted to get an experience about not only what that show's about, but about how you guys operate there. And the biggest recall I have from that is you and Zach and Steve and Barry running around the whole time, going from meeting to meeting, getting deals done or trying to, or whatever it was. And the thing that I've noticed over the last few years since then is that the opposite's happened now. You guys have a lot, I mean, people are lining up to meet with you guys now, and you're able to be a little bit more discriminating. And so, the tables have turned there. ICSC Vegas is coming up. People are, capital populations are just enveloping the Southeast in general, but the Carolinas, your sweet spot. What, as far as what's going on in the Carolinas right now, talk about that. What your analysis is of that.
Yeah, I mean, I wake up every day just thinking how fortunate we are to be in the Carolinas. I mean, our business is really 90% North and South Carolina. We do some things in Virginia and Georgia as well, but there's so many opportunities in the Carolinas, and just from I think even before COVID, but COVID was a huge accelerator with population trends, folks migrating to these southeastern Sunbelt states, and the Carolinas have been a huge recipient of that for the obvious reasons. Just quality of life, proximity to mountains and beaches and climate, and healthcare, all the great things we've got going on. And then I think both states have done a really good job at recruiting businesses as well. We've seen a lot of corporate relocations to the Carolinas, industrial relocations. There's just there's a workforce. The cost of living, the incentives that the states have offered. So you got tremendous job growth, and tremendous just in migration from the rest of the United States to these areas. It's created just a tremendous opportunity for what we do in the retail real estate side. As homes develop, there's more need for retail services and retail goods, and it's created a lot of eyes and ears from the tenant world on needing more locations in the Carolinas as these markets continue to expand, and you're creating new neighborhoods and new communities that are starting to flourish again. So just extremely fortunate. I think you'd be hard pressed to find better markets than where we are in terms of the outlook and growth. And I really don't think those trends are, you know, I think those trends are here to stay for a while for sure. So it's very exciting, and it's good that we've been able to, really develop deep relationships across both states, both on the tenant and brokerage side. So just the more active you are, the more opportunities you're going to see, and it just kind of snowballs.
Yeah, and when you and our team, when your team and I started working together in 2021, our focus was on the Carolinas, and you guys were really good and disciplined about that. And now you've got opportunities that are just outside the vicinity, specifically Virginia, we're talking about right now, and you're able to be again discriminating and really disciplined about making sure those are the perfect deals. And so it's just been a really neat thing to see. So, all right. So you guys, you've developed across retail, medical, mixed use. What makes a site feel like a winner early on, before everyone else sees it?
You know, it's really not that complicated. We'll kind of understand if it's a decent market. Residential growth around the site is always pretty important for a lot of retailers, or it's just, traffic. Some are more focused on traffic versus, residential density. But between the two of those are two pretty obvious sort of filters. And then, then it just comes down to access and visibility. There's a handful of boxes we check, and as our team internally here understands tenant requirements and what they're looking for, we're able to kind of filter through those much quicker than we could previously. We're able to get quick feedback from prospects on site, which helps us determine if it's something we want to pursue or not, pretty early on. So we're filtering through a myriad of sites every day that we look at. So that efficiency and weeding out ones that can work and don't work pretty quickly is important. So our team here internally has gotten pretty good at you know finding sites that work, and the hit rate on sites that we go after has gotten them much better.
Yeah, and your phones ring off the hook all the time with opportunities. I know now because you guys have proven that you can get deals done. So if a broker, let's say an investment acquisition opportunity, if a broker's got an opportunity, uh, it's a great deal for you guys. Why, when they call you guys, what are the things that are going to tip the scales for you to make that deal happen?
I mean, it's a small world.
Mhm.
It really is. I mean, we deal with repeat sellers, brokers, tenants all the time, and reputation is critical. So a track record of performing is huge, and we take that seriously. I mean, one of our really things that we hold very prideful internally is our commitment to doing anything we can to keep a deal together. There's going to be a handful of times where it should go sideways, and you don't know what those are going into it, but it's always going to happen. And just every deal is going to have something that is a challenge, at least one thing. And our team's ability to be creative, which is a core value for us, and that's really just around finding ways to solve problems, and being unconventional about that. Just working as hard as we can to find the solutions, and keeping deals together goes a long way. I mean, we're not, we can't we don't close every deal. I mean, there's things that don't happen, but if we can look back, and the seller or the brokers can look back and know that we put our absolute 100% effort behind it, and we're committed to doing what we could to get it done. And that's how we want to leave every transaction. And in those cases, we're successful, but just like a never give up attitude and find a way. And what I've seen in our team is that, we've been able to do that. And then the frequency and the comfort level with these challenging issues is much different than it was 3 or 4 years ago, where now we find an issue and it's like, it's not scary. We're just going to figure it out. So I think that, when you can have some successes, it just builds that confidence and into the next one. And that's something we really lean on, is building that reputation as a group that's going to, get in on a deal and really invest the time and the money to go through the due diligence. We're not kicking tires. We're going to hit everything head on. And, we're going to work to get to the end goal, do everything we can to get there. So it's that effort that I think goes a long way. And it's, you have to be like that every time out. You really have to take that responsibility to heart in every deal. But that's what we see is that's what sellers and brokers, they want to see. It's a group that they feel like is going to get to the closing table. And the more we can, the more we can build that reputation in a positive way, the better.
Yeah. All right. So I only have like two more questions. This one. All right. So what's like the deal that got away or something like that that keeps you up at night and you think back on and hey, if I'd have done X, we could have gotten Y yield or something like that. Who's the girl that got away?
No,
What's using that metaphor?
I'm gonna have to think about that one. I'm gonna have to circle back to that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. Neil, anything else you want people to know about you? What's your, meetings you're looking for out in Vegas or phone calls you'd want to receive? What can the public do for you to help themselves?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're one of the things we're really excited about is, as I mentioned, we've been able to really grow our business through internal capital for our entire history, and with our current growth pipeline, we're excited about bringing in equity partners into our business and what we're doing, and we've got some really exciting deals with great tenant lineups and great markets that I'm excited to build relationships on the capital side with equity partners. There's a lot of appetite in that world for retail real estate. We've seen that, and just really excited about that next sort of tier for our business and finding good aligned partners to work with. This is certainly a thoughtful process for us, and one that I'm excited to see how that matures and developing those relationships. But that's the big thing on our radar right now, along with just continuing to try to execute.
Yeah. All right. So you're saying anybody like me who's out there who's worth hundreds of dollars should give you a call, give you some money. It's going to be in
Yeah,
great
absolutely,
hands. The IRRs will be off the charts. That's who we need to reach out to right now.
absolutely.
All right, Neil, I appreciate it and look forward to talking to you in about an hour and 22 minutes over our favorite restaurant across the street. So I appreciate your time today, Neil, and I'm grateful to have you as a friend and as a client, and I look forward to what comes.
Yeah, no, thank you, Forth. Really enjoyed it, man.
All right, see you, buddy.
Thanks.